Let's talk about, we talked some before we came out about this, another opportunity and crisis, AI. Brian, you wrote the tribute to Sam Altman in this year's CEO of OpenAI, creator of ChatGPT. Incredible, terrifying maybe. You said it's the most powerful tool ever invented, bigger than the internet?
Way bigger than the internet.
Yeah. What's the opportunity? How do you think it's going to change business?
I mean, it's going to change everything. How big is it? Most intelligent people I talk to about this say it's somewhere between the internet and the Industrial Revolution. That's kind of a bit, and some people say it's bigger than the Industrial Revolution, and that is not a crazy thing to imagine. How do we think about it? When the computer came out, Steve Jobs said that a computer was like a bicycle for the mind. He had this great story about how the most efficient creature on Earth by locomotion was the condor, but somebody measured how efficient a human was on a bicycle, and they're more efficient. In other words, a bicycle makes us more efficient, and a computer was this tool, and humans are tool builders. And AI, if a computer was like a bicycle, is like a rocket ship or something. It is the most powerful tool probably ever invented, specifically artificial general intelligence, where a computer can start to do tasks that a human can do even better than them. And that is probably coming. And that's probably years away, not decades away.
What have you seen that's blown your mind?
Well, I mean, we are now at a point where I think, oh my God. I mean, you can give simple word prompts, and you can. I went to design school,
right?
So I never imagined. I always assumed that AI would automate. Like I think everyone thought AI was going to automate more blue collar jobs. Everyone thought that truck drivers and taxi workers would be automated by self-driving cars. It actually turns out that a lot of white collar jobs are essentially going to be augmented or changed sooner. So you can prompt simple words, get these incredibly rich images. There's voice cloning where it can basically like have your voice and it can replicate your voice. It can think quite deeply. If you ever use ChatGPT and you ask it a question, ask a follow-up question. Ask it to go deeper. What do you mean? And keep asking the question. It actually has this incredibly deep first principle logic. So I think it's the most powerful probably tool ever invented. It's like nuclear energy can light up a city or destroy a city. I think we have to be thoughtful about how we use it. It could be, I think it's on balance likely a very good thing, but I think that most people I talk to say that you might experience 100 years of change in the next 20 years, maybe even less. And so, if that happens, we have to be thoughtful about our institutions. I mean, business and government haven't worked the closest together. Technology and DC haven't worked very closely together. They're going to have to work closely now. And I think this is a great opportunity, but it's really about whose hands this power is in.
Sam Altman's talked about, Ken, maybe for you, openly about the risks. But there are a lot of people out there, Elon Musk is one of them, others, who are describing risks even greater than what he's acknowledged, down to destruction of truly existential.
Right.
How do you see the risks?
So, I think what's important, and this is a real example for me that my leadership mantra that I use from Napoleon is the role of a leader is to define reality and give hope. The key thing at the end of the day is there are, as Brian said, a lot of risks. There are monumental risks. But I think part of what we need to figure out, if this is truly, and I believe it is, probably the most transforming technology in modern history, what we're going to have to do is figure out, the first point that Brian made is, what's the level of engagement that we need between the private sector and the public sector? Second, what's going to be very important is no single company is going to be able to solve this. So what we have to do is we have to figure out how to work through a set of collaborations. What is a general approach? What is a framework? What are some guidelines? Because the reality is that the government alone can't do it. The private sector alone can't do it. No single company can do it. And so one of the things that's happening now is there are groups of us meeting saying, how do we think about the relationship of government and business? What might be a framework to guide companies collectively. And one of the things that I think is very important for most companies, this is not a technology issue. Every company needs to be focused on this. And to Brian's point, the speed and velocity is fierce. And are people thinking about what's going to be the change to jobs? What's the literacy rate in the organization of AI and GPT? It's not a matter of going to the technologists. You got to have people who are literate, and they got to get literate fast.